Imagine waking up every single morning to the sound of an alarm that feels more like a siren than a wake-up call. For Emma, a 28-year-old corporate analyst, the fluorescent lights of her office were starting to feel like a cage. She spent her days crunching numbers for a company that didn't know her middle name, let alone her dreams. The ghost business concept didn't start with a flash of genius. It started with a deep, aching desire for freedom. Like many in the modern economy, Emma felt the pressure of inflation eating away at her modest, hard-earned savings account. She read books like The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, wondering if that lifestyle was actually possible for a shy introvert. Emma wasn't a main character type. She hated being on camera and felt a wave of anxiety at the thought of public speaking. However, she possessed a unique skill set. She understood data, market trends, and the quiet power of digital systems. One rainy Tuesday, while sipping her lukewarm office coffee, she stumbled upon the concept of faceless YouTube automation. It was the ultimate loophole for someone who wanted the influencer income without the influencer fame or public scrutiny. The goal was clear: build a digital asset that works while you sleep, utilizing the power of compound interest in content. She knew that in a K-shaped economy, you are either owning the platforms or being used by the platforms. Emma decided it was time to stop being the data points for others and start creating her own digital real estate. She started by identifying high CPM niches, looking for areas where advertisers were desperate to spend their marketing budgets. Personal finance, AI technology reviews, and luxury lifestyle, these were the gold mines she decided to explore first. But the biggest hurdle wasn't the niche, it was the time, as she was still tied to her 9-to-5 desk. This is where the ghost element came in, using AI tools to act as her writers, narrators, and even her video editors. She realized that AI wasn't a threat to her job, it was the leverage she needed to build her own empire. Emma's daily habit changed. She began waking up at 5 a.m., a quiet hour before the corporate world demanded her soul. Instead of scrolling through social media, she focused on deep work, a concept popularized by author Cal Newport. She started her first channel in the green energy investing niche, a topic she found fascinating but didn't want to discuss publicly. She used an AI language model to draft scripts that were backed by hard data and professional financial analysis. The drama began when her first 3 videos received exactly 0 views, leaving her questioning if she was wasting her time. It's easy to stay motivated when the money is flowing, but the real test is when you are working for future you. Emma remembered the words of Robert Kiyosaki: "The rich don't work for money, they have money and assets work for them." She refined her SEO strategy, targeting long-tail keywords that had high search volume but low competition from big creators. Instead of generic titles, she used psychological hooks to grab the attention of viewers scrolling through their busy feeds. On the 14th day, something happened. A video about the future of lithium stocks started to gain unexpected traction. She watched the real-time analytics in the YouTube Studio app, her heart racing as the view count ticked upward. 100 views, 500 views. Then, by the end of the weekend, it hit 10,000 views, all while she was grocery shopping. That was the proof of concept she needed. The ghost was alive, and it was starting to speak to the world. But one video isn't a business. One video is just a lucky break in the vast ocean of the internet. Emma knew she needed a system, a repeatable content factory that didn't require her to be physically present. She started documenting her workflow, creating a blueprint that she could eventually outsource to specialized AI agents. She integrated passive income links into her video descriptions, connecting viewers with helpful financial tools and platforms. This wasn't just about views anymore. It was about creating a conversion funnel that turned attention into actual capital. Her corporate colleagues noticed she was quieter, perhaps a bit more distracted, but they assumed it was just burnout. Little did they know she was building a life raft while they were all still rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. The emotional stakes were rising. She was starting to see a path where she would never have to ask for a vacation again. She took her first $50 in earnings and instead of spending it, she reinvested it back into a faster AI rendering tool. With the first $50 reinvested, Emma realized that the difference between a hobby and a business is a system. She began to treat her YouTube channel like a software company, optimizing every second of retention for maximum impact. The most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't said, Emma remembered a Peter Drucker quote while analyzing her comments. She noticed her audience was asking deeper questions about portfolio diversification, not just lithium stocks. This was her signal to expand. She wasn't just a green energy creator anymore. She was becoming a wealth architect. Emma launched her second Ghost channel, this time focusing on AI-driven productivity hacks for busy professionals. She used a different AI voice, one that sounded more authoritative and seasoned, to match the new brand's persona. Her daily routine was now a well-oiled machine. 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. was for high-level strategy and script finalization. During her lunch breaks at the corporate office, she would use her phone to check the rendering progress of her latest videos. She was living a double life, a quiet analyst by day and a digital empire builder by night. But scaling brought new challenges. Managing 2 channels manually was starting to create a content bottleneck. She turned to the book Atomic Habits by James Clear to automate her own behavior before she automated the tech. Emma began stacking her habits, using the time she spent commuting to listen to market reports for new video ideas. She discovered cloud computing for video rendering, allowing her to produce 10 times the content without heating up her laptop. The Ghost was no longer just a hobby, it was a digital phantom that was starting to out-earn her corporate salary. Then the first major crisis hit, a copyright strike on her second channel due to an AI-generated music clip. Her heart sank as she saw the warning banner in her dashboard. Her empire felt fragile and temporary. High-stakes drama isn't just for movies, it's for anyone who puts their livelihood on a platform they don't own. Emma didn't panic. She spent the entire night researching fair use and licensing, pivoting her strategy immediately. She shifted to using zero-risk assets, ensuring every piece of music and every frame of video was 100% commercially cleared. This setback was a lesson in anti-fragility, a concept by Nassim Taleb. She needed to be stronger because of the stress. To diversify her risk, she didn't just stay on YouTube. She launched a ghost blog to capture email addresses. An email list is the only thing you truly own in the digital world, she wrote in her private journal. She used AI to repurpose her video scripts into long-form articles, creating a content recycling loop. Her 10K per month goal was no longer a dream, it was a mathematical certainty if she kept her current trajectory. Emma's investing habits shifted. She began moving her Ghost earnings into low-volatility index funds. She wasn't just making money, she was building a moat, a term Warren Buffett uses to describe competitive protection.
One afternoon, her boss called her into the office to discuss her lack of focus during team meetings. Emma sat there listening to him criticize her performance while her phone buzzed with a $200 affiliate commission notification. It was the ultimate test of her poker face. She apologized sincerely while internally she was planning her exit. The emotional weight of the double life was heavy, but the sense of financial sovereignty was heavier. She began experimenting with faceless shorts, utilizing the vertical video trend to drive traffic to her long-form content. She used AI avatars, hyper-realistic digital humans, to provide a host for her videos without ever showing her own skin. These avatars could speak 20 different languages, allowing Emma to launch a Spanish ghost channel overnight. Globalization was now her play. The world was her audience, and AI was her universal translator. She watched as her Mexican and Spanish audiences grew faster than her English-speaking ones. The data was clear. People everywhere were hungry for financial education, regardless of the language. Emma's ghost business was now a multinational entity, managed from a single laptop in a small apartment. She realized that the shy corporate analyst was gone, replaced by a confident, invisible CEO. By the end of month 6, her dashboard finally showed the number she had been chasing, $10,402 in a single month. Reaching $10,000 a month is a milestone, but it's also a trap if you're still the one doing all the clicking. Emma realized that to truly be free, she had to stop being the ghost and start being the engineer of the machine. She took a page from The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. If your business depends on you, you don't own a business, you have a job. It was time to build her ghost team, a hybrid workforce of specialized AI agents and offshore experts. She automated her research phase by using AI scrapers that alerted her to trending financial news before it hit the mainstream. This gave her a first-mover advantage, allowing her channels to dominate search results for breaking news. Then, Emma hired her first virtual assistant from the Philippines to handle the repetitive task of community management. She felt a surge of adrenaline as she delegated her first task. She was no longer trading her time for money. Her ghost blog was also evolving. She integrated an AI-driven SEO optimizer that updated old posts automatically. This turned her archive into a living asset, consistently ranking for thousands of niche keywords without new input. The emotional stakes shifted from "will this work" to "how big can this actually get?" Emma's investing habits became more aggressive. She began profit-first accounting to ensure her business stayed lean. She set aside 30% of her revenue for the Innovation Fund, capital specifically for testing new AI technologies. One such investment was a high-end neural voice cloner that could mimic the nuances of human emotion flawlessly. This removed the robotic feel of her early videos, making her faceless content feel deeply personal and empathetic. Drama arrived when a competitor tried to negative SEO her main channel, flooding her videos with bot-generated dislikes. It was a digital drive-by shooting, a common occurrence in the high-stakes world of online finance. Emma stayed calm, using her data analyst background to identify the patterns and report them to the platform. She realized that being a ghost meant she was a target, but it also meant she had no public reputation to ruin. "Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room," Jeff Bezos famously said. For Emma, the room was the entire internet, and her brand was trust and accuracy. She began using AI to analyze the sentiment of her audience, adjusting her tone based on the collective mood of the market.
When the market was fearful, her videos became a calm voice of reason. When it was greedy, she became a warning light. This emotional intelligence, powered by AI, created a loyal community of ghost followers who trusted her system. She started a secret newsletter, accessible only through a hidden link in her videos, creating a sense of exclusivity. This newsletter became her highest converting asset, selling premium financial templates she designed in her spare time. Emma was now making money from ads, affiliate marketing, digital products, and her growing stock portfolio. She finally did it. She wrote her resignation letter, a simple, polite document that felt like $1 million check. Walking out of the corporate office for the last time, she didn't feel like a hero in a movie. She felt like a ghost leaving a haunted house. The silence of her first free Monday was deafening, but it was the most beautiful sound she had ever heard. She celebrated by going to a local park and sitting on a bench, watching the world rush by while her ghost kept working. In that 1 hour of sitting on a bench, her channels generated more revenue than a full day at her old job. But retirement wasn't the goal. Expansion was. She began looking into ghost real estate, automated Airbnb businesses. She used AI to find undervalued properties in high-growth areas, applying her data skills to the physical world. Every dollar she earned was a soldier sent out to capture more territory in the land of financial freedom. She remembered a quote from Naval Ravikant, "Earn with your mind, not your time." Emma was no longer a corporate analyst. She was a mind worker, leveraging technology to multiply her impact. Her habits were now centered around health and clarity, meditation, long walks, and deep reading. She realized that the clearer her mind, the better her ghost performed. Her energy was the fuel for the machine. She set a new target, $50,000 a month. It sounded impossible, but so did $10,000 just a year ago. Scaling from $10K to $50K a month requires a shift from doing to deploying. Emma realized that her ghost model was so successful that others were starting to copy her exact style. The market was becoming saturated with low-quality AI content, a sea of sameness that threatened her viewership. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. She repeated Steve Jobs' words as she looked at her declining click-through rates. To stay ahead, she had to inject human soul into her AI workflows, making her content impossible to replicate. She began using AI not to replace her creativity, but to amplify the most unique parts of her research. She moved into micro-niches, highly specific areas like quantum computing stocks and vertical farming finance. These niches had less competition but incredibly high value per viewer, attracting premium corporate sponsors. Emma's habits shifted again. She began spending 2 hours a day information foraging in academic journals and patent filings. This data became the proprietary fuel for her AI scriptwriters, ensuring her videos had information no one else had. The drama escalated when a major tech platform changed its algorithm, favoring face-to-camera content over automation. For a ghost business, this was an existential threat. The very foundation of her empire was shaking. Emma didn't retreat, she adapted by creating hyper-realistic AI avatars that were indistinguishable from real humans. These weren't just moving pictures, they had micro-expressions, ums and ahs, and a sense of genuine personality.
She gave her lead avatar a name, a backstory, and a vibe that resonated with her specific audience. She was no longer just a channel. She was a virtual talent agency managing digital personalities. This pivot worked brilliantly. Her retention rates tripled as viewers felt a parasocial connection to her AI hosts. With her income skyrocketing, Emma began her first venture capital play, investing in the very AI startups she used. She was now an insider, getting access to tools months before they hit the public market. Her investing habit was now a feedback loop. She used the tools to make money, then used the money to own the tools. She remembered a lesson from The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. The best investment you can make is in yourself and your own operations. But the psychological pressure of managing a $40K per month machine while remaining invisible was starting to take a toll. She felt like a digital phantom watching her influence grow while her physical self remained a total mystery to the world. She chose to embrace the quiet wealth lifestyle, avoiding flashy displays of money in favor of time wealth. She spent her Tuesdays at art galleries and her Thursdays learning to pilot a small aircraft, hobbies that required her full presence. Her ghost team was now 20 people strong, including editors, script doctors, and AI prompt engineers. She created a standard operating procedure for every possible scenario, making her business anti-fragile. Even if Emma went offline for a month, the ghost network would continue to publish, optimize, and earn. The high-stakes drama returned when a former disgruntled freelancer tried to dox her, threatening to reveal her true identity. This was the ultimate fear for a shy introvert who valued her privacy above all else. Emma acted swiftly, using her legal team to issue a cease and desist while tightening her digital security protocols. She realized that privacy is the new luxury in an era where everyone is trying to be famous. She moved her digital operations to encrypted servers and began using alias entities for all her business dealings. This layer of protection allowed her to breathe again, knowing her ghost was safe in its digital fortress. She began exploring Web3 and decentralized platforms, looking for ways to host her content where no single company could delete it.
Her ghost business was becoming a sovereign business, independent of any one platform's rules. She started a philanthropy fund, using her AI tools to create free educational content for underprivileged schools. Making money was the first goal, making an impact without needing the credit was the new, higher goal. She looked at her dashboard on a random Wednesday, $48,900. She was inches away from the $50K mark, but more importantly, she was 100% in control of her time, her identity, and her future. The final mountain to climb wasn't about the money anymore, it was about legacy. Emma realized that her ghost business was no longer a side hustle or even a job. It was a self-sustaining ecosystem. She reached the $50,000 monthly revenue on a quiet Tuesday in October, not with a bang, but with a series of automated pings. To celebrate, she didn't buy a supercar, she bought the house next to her parents' house and paid off their mortgage anonymously. She used a ghost trust to handle the transaction, ensuring the gift felt like a miracle rather than a handout. This was the true power of the ghost lifestyle, the ability to change lives without needing the spotlight. But every empire needs an exit strategy, and Emma began to look at acquisitions. She realized that her network of faceless channels and blogs was now a turnkey asset for institutional investors. The goal is to build something that doesn't need you, so you can choose when to be there, she wrote in her final strategy memo. She spent her mornings reviewing roll-up offers from media conglomerates who wanted her proprietary AI workflows. The drama was high stakes. Selling the business meant letting go of her digital child, but it also meant generational wealth. Emma decided to sell 70% of her holding company, keeping a 30% golden share to maintain a hand in the innovation. The payday was in the millions, a number her corporate analyst self could never have computed. She remembered her daily habit of waking up at 5 a.m., the smell of the same lukewarm coffee, and the fear of the 9-to-5 grind. That fear was gone, replaced by a deep, quiet confidence in her ability to build systems from nothing. She began teaching her ghost framework to a small, private group of students, other introverts looking for a way out. She used an AI avatar of herself to teach the classes, maintaining her privacy even while sharing her secrets. Her investing habits were now focused on long-term sustainability, buying regenerative farmland and renewable energy grids. She was no longer just betting on stocks, she was betting on the future of the planet she now had the time to enjoy. The ghost business model had evolved into an impact business, where every view funded a tree planted or a well dug. Emma's story is a testament to the fact that you don't have to be the loudest person in the room to be the most successful. In a world of look-at-me influencers, there is a massive opportunity for the ghost builders. Silence is a source of great strength, Lao Tzu said, and Emma was the living embodiment of that strength. She looked back at her first 3,000-word script, the one about the boy who saved $1, and realized she had lived her own story. She wasn't a corporate analyst anymore. She was an architect of reality, using AI as her bricks and mortar. Her ghost team was now a family of creators who all worked from their own paradises around the world. She had created more than wealth. She had created a new way of working that respected privacy and autonomy. The double life was over. She was now one person, fully integrated, living life on her own terms. On her last video of the series, she left a hidden message in the metadata, a thank you to the technology that set her free. The final scene of her journey wasn't a party. It was her closing her laptop and walking toward the ocean at sunset. The ghost had finally found peace, but the business would keep running forever. Emma knew that the AI tools would keep evolving, the algorithms would keep changing, but her system was timeless. She had mastered the art of being everywhere and nowhere at the same time. To anyone listening who feels trapped in a cubicle, your ghost is waiting to be built. You don't need $1 million to start. You just need a laptop, a system, and the courage to stay invisible. Success isn't about the fame you gain, it's about the freedom you secure for your future self. Emma's journey from 0 to 10K and eventually to a multi-million-dollar exit is now your blueprint. The ghost business isn't a myth, it's a mechanical reality for those willing to engineer it. This is the end of Emma's story, but it's the beginning of yours. Start now. Build your ghost. Set yourself free.